Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1418B, and today's date is November 6th, 2017, and the title of the episode is The Cabal Makes Their Move for a New Middle East Event. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, we understand that the social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Twitter, and the rest, they've been trying to silence the alternative media or anyone that wants to speak out against their agenda and what they believe is the truth and what they're trying to spew as the truth, which is really propaganda. And if you counter anything they say, they've been trying over the past to maybe shut you down, maybe to ban you, maybe to give you strikes on your account. They do whatever they possibly can. And during this period of time, what they like to do is they like to change the terms of service. You know, they like to change the rules of the game. So if you've been doing something, all of a sudden they can say, well, that's against our rules now because we just changed them yesterday. And we see Twitter, they just changed their terms of service. Now, the changes can be seen in the abusive behavior sections, which currently states, "We believe in freedom of expression and open dialogue." And in the past, what it used to say was, "We believe in freedom of expression and speaking truth to power." And they got caught in the crossfire over internet free speech and Russian conspiracy theories while they were giving testimony in front of Congress in a congressional hearing, which was meant to root out Russian interference by Twitter accounts and basically, find out what they're doing to control this and things like that. And we also know that Trump's Twitter account was shut down for 11 minutes from a disgruntled employee. But all these social media outlets, what they like to do is they like to change the terms of service, and they do this quite often. And we see that, Google, YouTube, Facebook, and the rest, they also do it, but they're being questioned by Congress trying to understand what they're trying to do and what moves they're trying to make against, those people who are speaking out. Now, I saw Trey Gowdy who was up there talking to Facebook, and what they were saying didn't even make sense. And I'm talking about what Facebook was saying to Trey Gowdy, because Trey Gowdy was trying to understand what was really going on with Facebook and what they were trying to do. And they were trying to say, well, if you're a person and we know who you are and you're authorized, then we believe what you say. So Trey Gowdy said, listen, okay, you know who I am? And they said, yes, we know who you are. And if I say, the sun rises from the west and sets in the east, is that okay? Because you know who I am. I'm authorized. I'm, basically you're saying that's okay then. And they really had no answer, because what they look at is anyone that is certified by them, that means they're telling the truth. And Trey Gowdy was saying, well, if I'm certified and you're saying it is me and you're saying I'm an up and up type of person, I can say whatever I want, even if it's a lie, but you'll still allow it because I'm certified. And they got into this type of argument, and the whole thing from Facebook didn't even make sense. So we can see they're trying to figure out a way to let everyone know that, yes, ABC, NBC, CNN, they're certified. So guess what? You can believe them. All the other people, you can't believe them. And it doesn't hold up, because just because you are who you are doesn't mean you're going to tell the truth. It makes no sense. And the fact checking, that doesn't even work. Well, we see out with the Uranium One deal, well, things are starting to really heat up. Now, John McCain is now being dragged into this. Now, we know that they're looking into Clinton's. They're looking into what has happened there. They realize that Manafort is now leading them to the Clintons, leading to the Clinton Foundation. And now McCain, he was notified by official documents that the uranium was being transferred to Moscow in 2015. Now, he passed it off to a congressional liaison rather than handle it himself, because he is a ranking member of Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee and the Investigations Committee, but he didn't even look at it. But he knew it was going on. He knew exactly what was going on, And he didn't want to get involved because this whole thing was an inside job. Believe me, it was not just the Clintons. There are so many other people that are corrupt in government that all of this is starting to come out now. Trump is now out in Japan, and he's wondering why Japan just didn't shoot down North Korea's missiles. Now, it seems kind of funny, and people are out there saying that he's trying to make a sale where he's trying to convince Japan to buy more military assets, which of course he's probably trying to do. But the question is, why didn't Japan shoot down North Korea's missile? I mean, if you see a missile heading towards your country, wouldn't that be the first thing you do, is try to shoot it down? The reason I think they didn't shoot it down is because I don't believe these systems are capable of doing it. And actually, we do have experts out there that say the same exact thing, that the ability to shoot down the missile launched by North Korea, they're saying that this cannot be done with Japan's sea-based Aegis missile defense system. It would have to be placed much closer to North Korean coast to have a chance of intercepting and destroying a missile, because you have to look at how the missile takes off and how it arcs, and they're saying that this system would not work. So if they tried to shoot it down and they missed, guess what? All sails would be off. People would be like, okay, this system does not work, and this would be a big problem. This is why we've never seen anyone try to shoot it down. I mean, they're complaining of how close the missiles are coming. They're complaining that they could be able to hit Guam, but they don't have the ability to shoot it down. Now, I know the U.S. did some tests, but they knew the trajectory, they knew the speed, they knew the type of missile, they knew it was when it was going to be launched. They knew everything, and they set it up perfectly, and they were able to shoot it down. Now, the Pentagon is out there, and they're saying, listen, to rid or secure the North Korean nuclear sites, we would have to invade North Korea. Now, if we did go ahead, and this is coming from the Pentagon, if we did invade North Korea, there'd be some casualties. About 300,000 people in North Korea would be dead in the first couple of days. Maybe 100,000 Americans, they might be potentially at risk. And what they're doing right now is they're building up the propaganda that this might be a possibility. And they're trying to use the weapons of mass destruction hoax like they did with Iraq with North Korea, because they're saying that North Korea, well, they might be, building maybe chemical or biological weapons underground. And we better get in there before they use these type of weapons. So we can see they're trying to push the agenda and trying to convince everyone that we need to go in there. But I think in the back end, with Trump, Tillerson, Russia, China, Duterte, and the rest, I think they're trying to have these talks where they're talking peace, where they're trying to calm the situation down. And the Cabal, certain members in Pentagon that are part of the Cabal, they want war, and they're trying to push this as hard as they possibly can. Now, we've been talking about how the Cabal might try to push another event in the Middle East, and something very interesting is happening out in Saudi Arabia. A Saudi prince who was deputy governor of the kingdom's Azir province died in a helicopter crash on November 5th. Now, the prince, the son of the former crown prince, was in the southern part of the kingdom near Yemen when the aircraft went down. Now, the crash occurred one day after the Houthi rebels in Yemen launched a ballistic missile at an airport in the Saudi capital. Now, they're saying that they intercepted and destroyed the missile and nothing really happened. Now, again, we don't know if this really happened. This could be something that they're just saying. And again, are the Houthis really firing ballistic missiles into Saudi Arabia right now? It really doesn't make any sense why they would start doing this when they're trying to defend and fight off the invading force in their country. Now, Saudi Arabia is saying that this missile launch was a blatant act of aggression by Iran. And we see a lot of things happening in Saudi Arabia. First of all, Saudi Arabia, it looks like they are cleaning house, and they're getting rid of certain individuals in the Saudi system. Now, Saudi banks begun freezing accounts of those who were arrested. The Saudi central bank ordered commercial banks to freeze the accounts of people under investigation in the probe. And we're starting to see that many individuals are being arrested, private jets are being grounded, and it looks like there's a huge coup going on right now because it looks like they're getting ready and prepared to do something much, much larger. Now, very interestingly, we see out in Lebanon, we see that the Lebanon's Prime Minister, Saad al-Hariri, well, he decided to resign. He announced his resignation. Now, he has a dual passport. He's a Saudi national, and he's deciding that he's going to resign right now. And it looks like, from all of this, it looks like Saudi Arabia, Israel, maybe Lebanon, they're getting ready to do something with Iran because Saudi Arabia is building up the propaganda that Iran fired this missile. It looks like Iran was trying to attack Saudi Arabia, which makes no sense whatsoever because Iran has not attacked anyone in over 200 years. Why would they start now? It makes no sense whatsoever. And the Lebanese prime minister with a Saudi passport resigns on order of Saudi Arabia. And we see right now is that the U.S. will try to press the Lebanese army into a war against Hezbollah. Israel will try to provoke and divert Hezbollah's attention by, new different events at the Lebanese and Syrian border. I don't think this is going to start a war, but they're going to try. This plan most likely will not succeed. The Lebanese people as a whole have no interest in a civil war. The Lebanese army will not get involved in any specific side, but will try to keep everyone calm. Sanctions against Hezbollah will hit all of Lebanon, including Sunni interests. And the miscalculated Saudi-U.S.-Israeli plan against Hezbollah can be understood as helpless tantrum after their defeat in Syria and Iraq. Now, we have to remember what is happening right now. We're weeks away from Russia and Syria taking control of the country, which means the United States, the paid mercenaries, are going to be at the coalition forces, which is made up of Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the rest of the country can be asked to leave. Same thing in Iraq. And they don't want this to happen. And it looks like they're going to push whatever they possibly can right now and try to get a war started with Iran. And this is why we're hearing this propaganda right now. Out in Yemen, it looks like the Saudi-led coalition is shutting all the ports in Yemen. Now they're going to squeeze the people, squeeze Houthis, and they're going to try to push their agenda against the Houthis, where they're saying that they're Iranian-backed, and they're going to try to push the event with Iran. And I wouldn't be surprised right now if we see some type of major false flag happen, because, like I said, they are running out of time right now. And it looks like they're getting ready to push some type of major event. And who knows, there could be another missile that is fired off, and maybe this time they won't block it, but it really won't be from the Houthis. It will come from someplace else. But again, they will blame it all on the Houthis or Iran to try to start this event. Or maybe something will happen on the border with Iraq and Syria, Lebanon and Syria. We don't know as of yet. We see that the Syrian army, they have uncovered a large Islamic State explosive factory inside of Deir ez-Zor, and they have uncovered IEDs, which is our improvised explosive devices. This whole entire factory was creating them, and they have captured it. Now, I wanted to talk about what happened down in Texas right now. We see that Devin Patrick Kelly, it looks like he went into a First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, and allegedly shot up many individuals inside. And it looks like this had to do with a dispute with his mother-in-law, Michelle Shields, because there's been text messages that went back and forth. And we need to understand that the pro-gun control people, they're using this to push their agenda here in this, again, mass type of shooting. And again, we have to understand the weapon doesn't kill anyone. I mean, think about this for a second. In Paris, in New York, all these false flags that they have. The car, the truck who killed 8, 15, 20 people. The car truck didn't do it by itself. It was the driver. But they never say that. When it's a weapons type of shooting, it's always the gun. But when we look back at this person, it looks like he has some type of history here. And as it turns out, Kelly was court-martialed in 2012 for 2 counts of Article 128 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, assault on his spouse, assault on their child. He received a bad conduct discharge as a result, confinement for 12 months, and a reduction in rank. The Air Force has not released a date of the discharge. And his parents had him on high doses of psych meds from 6th to 9th grade. And most likely, I'm saying this probably was the same type of thing that we've seen in the past, where he was on some type of SSRI drug, and he was taking it for some type of mental illness, and maybe he went off of it. And we know for a fact when people go off of these type of drugs, they hear voices in their head, and they go out and they try to kill people. But what's very interesting about all of this is that inside the church, there was an armed person who started firing back at this individual and saying if this person wasn't there, a lot more people might have died. And once again, Trump is out there saying, listen, this has nothing to do with the gun. This has to do with a mental health problem. And I think what's going to happen at this point, as we're continually pushing the idea that we need to look into these people's backgrounds, and are most of these people on some type of SSRI drug? And we've gone in the past and looked at all the different mass shootings, and I would say the majority of them, like 98% of them, they had some type of mental health problem. We discussed that before. And as this continually comes out, we're going to have to probe into this. And I think this gun control agenda is going down the tubes right now, because as more and more people come out and say that this is a mental health problem, just like when they use the cars or they use knives, it's not the knife, it's not the car, it's not the truck, it's the person. And people say, well, guns kill a lot more people than knives or cars. Really? Well, let's go to Kunming Railway Station massacre of 2014. As hundreds of Chinese went about their daily commutes, a group of 4 knifemen stormed the station and began the worst knife massacre in recent memory. Guess what? 29 innocent Chinese were dead and 130 more were injured from knives. So, should we ban the knife, or was it these individuals? And this is not the only attack with a knife where the victims numbered 22 or more in an attack. Think about Paris, France, or Germany, or many of the other countries where people took trucks and rammed into people. Yes, I know they're false flags, but we're going to use them to our benefit right now, where they rammed into trucks and they killed many people with these other type of inanimate objects that don't do anything unless there's a person behind it. The same thing with the gun. And this is where it's all falling apart for the gun control group, because as we know, it is the person. If someone drinks and they get into a car and they're completely drunk and they ram into a whole mess of people, who's responsible? It's the person behind the wheel. It's not the car. If someone is taking SSRI drugs, who has a mental illness, and they get a gun and they start shooting, is it the gun's fault? No. It's the person who has the mental illness, because that person, if they didn't have a gun, they would have taken the car or a truck and they would have done the same thing. Or maybe they would have created a bomb. They would have done the same thing. So we can see right now their gun control problem is not the guns. It's the people. Just like the people that was driving the truck, just like the people that were driving the car, just like the person that was using the knife. So that whole thing is falling apart. But like we said, these events are going to continue on. They're going to push these individuals, and this individual was in contact. I'm sure we're going to come out and see the FBI was in contact, because the entire pattern is always the same, where the FBI had talks with this individual, and the patterns always seem the same. This person committed suicide. It's always the same pattern over and over and over. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to distract everyone from everything. And they're going to continually do this over and over. And now they have this event building up in the Middle East. And we know that they've been practicing, the FBI has been practicing in King's Dominion and an amusement park. And I would expect the next event to be even larger. and the next one after that even larger, because they are running out of time. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.